Hi, everybody. Welcome to 6 Months Later, the podcast 180 Days in the Making, where we talk to interesting people about their lives and hopes for the future. And then we check in with them in 6 months to see if they ever finish reading Moby Dick and what their thoughts are about the plight of the people of the Pequod. My name is Matthew Shadorn, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host,
Taryn Wordsworth. How you doing?
I'm all right, Tara. How have you been?
Yeah, great, thank you. Really good. Busy, you know?
Yeah?
Oh, God, I took the boys to Ikea yesterday.
Ooh.
Big mistake. Huge.
In what respect?
In that I was like, I could take the boys to Ikea. You know, they're so much bigger now. And then Sam spent an hour and a half screaming. Like, that's not an exaggeration. We're halfway through Marketplace. Charlie, like, runs for this exit door that he can see and is like, I want to go home. And Sam's screaming. And I was like, we literally can't get out of this place. Like, we have to keep going through this massive maze that never ends. Okay, so just bear with me.
You grab him by the shoulder and you're like, boys, we need to stay together. We'll never get out of here alive.
I did do something similar to that at one point where I was just like, just stop screaming. I could tell that people around me were like, had that look of like, why would you bring them here? And then they were looks of pity, and then how annoying it is to have the screaming near them. So they're looking like annoyed with me that their experience is being wrecked.
It's like that whole wave of like, they're angry, they're disappointed, they're sad. There's like, there's a level of empathy, but at the same time, there's a level of just like total disgust with you. Like,
yeah. And no one would ever like offer to help or anything. Like no one's obviously like, I can understand it, but it's just weird. It's like, no one's ever like, are you okay? Or it's more just like, oh God, like let's get away from that woman. Well,
it's, it's that Scandinavian stoicness that really infects people when they go to Ikea. And it's just like the various like range of emotions that happen in Ikea. I don't understand why were they upset, because isn't everything in Ikea kind of like colorful and plasticky and like kids can pick it up and it's indestructible or whatever, and like it seems like it'd be really fun if you were a kid.
I managed to distract them when we got to the lighting section. I was like, oh, look at all these lights, and Sam was like, lights, like, so stop screaming for a few minutes. I don't know what possessed me to think I could do it. It was all the queues as well. Like it was a Sunday. Why on earth would I go there on a weekend?
Like on a Sunday? You don't have to go on a Sunday. Why would you go on a Sunday?
I don't know why I did it. I think I just thought, Will's playing tennis. I wanted him to have a fun day off, away from us.
Instead, in the middle of his tennis match, he got a call from you being like, come to Ikea and pick us up.
Exactly. No,
we're in the lighting section. It's the only thing that comes. But
we can't get out. Yeah, I managed to sort of basically bribe them to keep going with like McDonald's and being like, we're gonna get a Happy Meal, which I felt awful about. We've literally had McDonald's like 3 times in like the last couple of weeks. It's worrying. Like it's one of those things where we were like, we'll never have McDonald's. We'll never take our children to McDonald's. We'll not be those people. I'm never gonna
put that poison in my babies.
And then suddenly you're like, just eat the nuggets. I don't care. Yeah, it's
whatever. Yeah.
That was someday.
Take this piece of future landfill plastic toy over to the ball pit and leave mommy alone for 5 goddamn minutes.
Yeah. And then you know what? McDonald's is like trying to save the world by having paper straws, and they are the shittiest straws. Like the kids drink about 2 sips of their milkshake and then they can't get anything out and the straw's all bent and it's disintegrated, and I'm like, yay for the world, but like for this second, for me right now, this is really annoying.
Need to get them
even as an adult
straws. Yeah.
Do you? I think even as an adult, the paper ones I feel like they just don't last. Like I was using one with a milkshake, and because you've got to properly like you got to work on that straw.
you gotta get your mouth on it, and you gotta just really get the suction going, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody knows how a straw works, Tara. You don't have to giggle like a child.
I just felt like what I was saying. Just anyway, forget it.
Yeah. People are gonna take that out of context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you said it, so that was a relief.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
What are you gonna say? Thank you.
Yeah, you gotta get reusable straws. I think paper straw in a milkshake seems like a bad idea.
Oh, and then I bought these metal straws at Ikea because I was all like, oh my God, like we're going to save the planet by having these metal straws. And then I got home and Will was like, oh, be really careful with those. Like, don't let the boys use them unless they're like seated at the table and you're watching them. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, oh, because a few people have died like sucking on them while they're like walking, and then they've fallen over and it's like gone through them. And I'm like, great, like fantastic. I'm so grateful that I bought these stupid straws. Like it was just, I don't know. It was just, I thought it would be a good experience. And then I just bought like death trap straws, and the boys were not like, it was, yeah. Anyway.
Sounds like a great trip.
It was great. How was your weekend?
It was fine. We went down to a place called Horley, which is near Gatwick Airport, and we picked up a bicycle trailer for the baby. So for that you can put a little kid in.
AKA Tavish, just so you know, guys.
Yes.
He's got a son called Tavish, and he doesn't only refer to him as the baby. Like, he does have personal
I'm trying to
contact.
get less emotionally attached to him. So Tavish, so yeah, we have it so we can take, and it's got like a little thing that's suspended in there, so you can like even take a little baby in it. You don't have to wait till they're like a toddler even. So we got a good deal on that, but we had to drive like an hour and a half. But then we made a whole day of it, and we went to like a nice botanical garden called Painsview, and that was very nice. It was nice to just get out, walk around a nice like Victorian botanical garden. It's had a bunch of little pavilions and crazy Victorian bits pieces. There was like a big Gothic tower you could go up. I think it was closed. There was like something called the Temple of Bacchus, which was not as fun as it sounded. Like, there should at least be a bar here. And it was just like a faux classical Greek temple. And then out front where they had these sconces where you would normally have statues, and they just had big cardboard standees of statues of like Greek statues, which was very odd at first because your eye was, because it's like a 3-dimensional space, but then there's a 2-dimensional object inside it. So then your eye's like, wait, what? Like, it was very odd. Anyways, but it was not as...
Did they just like not have money to finish this, or...?
I don't know. I think they must have had money. We gave them each 11. We gave them 11 pounds each. Tavish got them free. And Alice bought a cat mint plant while we were there. And we also spent...
She bought a what?
A cat mint plant.
What's a cat mint plant? Oh.
I guess it's some type of mint. I guess the birds, or not birds, I guess bees really like it.
Oh, you're so obsessed with bees.
Anyways, but it was a nice little, when somewhere between here and Gatwick Airport, go to Painsview, Pains Hill. I forget what it's called now. Anyways, that was really nice. And that was kind of the big thing that we did this weekend. Otherwise, it's been pretty low key lately. I think having a baby starting to catch up with me.
Like, there's no reason you would be tired.
Yeah, well.
I'd love to just be like, oh, don't worry, it only lasts like a really short time. But like, we were still up. I was up like twice in the night last night, and you just start thinking like, this is why. Like, I'm over this now. Like, it's been years.
Yeah, that's why you don't want that third kid.
Yeah, 100%. I think I gotta just push on, ignore the ovaries.
Yeah, but I think I've become so tired and stressed. I'm starting to get I can feel my eyelids twitching. Like, I'm starting to get like a twitch in my eye, and like it's not gone away. I thought it was like, oh, I've just maybe like a couple of days I had too much coffee, but it's not going away. So if I'm just kind of like there, and then I can just like feel it, but I can't tell if anybody else can see it. So I can't, like, every once in a while I'll be like, Alice, can you see it? She's like, no.
I tell you what you have to do. Well, you don't have to do anything. You're a free man. But I would really, really advise having a time that you turn off all technology. Like, being like, I am turning technology off at 9. And then, you have a thing where you're like, after that, I'm going to maybe just have a bath or a shower, get in bed, read a book, relax, and then be asleep by 10. Because otherwise, you'll keep looking at your phone. Don't check your phone in the night. Like, do not look at it. If you wake up, don't look at your phone. Make sure it's in a different room.
All right. See, the problem is the thing I've been doing to relax is I've been reading stuff on my tablet a lot lately. So
yeah, I feel like that's technology. So.
That's technology. Yeah. No, yeah. Because it's not like a stone tablet. It's Android.
You're not Moses, turns out. So that's
it's
disappointing.
Like got on my cuneiform stories on clay tablet. I'm smart. So, Tara, do you have any big predictions for 6 months from now? It'll be late October.
Well, have you heard anything about this Boris Johnson stuff of him saying he wants to see...
You hear about this Boris Johnson fella?
About the bodies piling high comment that he's made or something?
No,
He'd rather see... There's some news piece about him having said he'd rather see bodies pile high than go back into lockdown or something like that. But apparently he's denied saying that. But I feel like in 6 months' time, something will have come out that's like too much of a scandal or something for him to continue as prime minister, and that he'll have to step down, or or he just won't step down because he's like, I don't care. Yeah, it's a scandal, but whatever. But he should step down is what I'm saying. So there'll be something that comes out that is like, oh, he should step down definitely, but he just either he does or he refuses to. That's my prediction. What's your prediction?
So what I think is going to happen is so this is the last episode that will come out before Halloween. So I'm going to make my predictions for what the big Halloween costumes are for 2021 based on what has happened so far in the year. So the 6 months until Halloween. You seem dubious about this.
I'm trying to think about because I've not even thought about what the big things are that could be. So
I've been racking my brain because here's what I'm thinking really big. Either zombie or ghost of Prince Philip. Somehow like a ship stuck in a canal. Depending on go as that ship. That ship was. That's the thing is like if you wanted to go as the ship, you had to start now really working on your ship costume. And so I think that people will be like that's still fresh in their mind. Like I'm gonna go as that ship, and then most people won't remember in October, but some people will show up with like really nice ship costumes and be like, oh.
I don't think anyone's gonna do that. But continue.
European Super League. That's gonna be a costume. It's just gonna be like in a soccer outfit with like a Superman thing, and then I don't know, maybe not. Sexy Black Widow costumes, and I think so the offensive costumes that people will do, because I think Halloween's going to be really big this year. I'll say that. Because, Well, anyways, I think the offensive costumes that people are going to do, they're going to dress as COVID-19.
Oh,
people
God.
be like, that's not cool. And then the offensive racist costume, I think that people are going to be doing is they're going to be dressing up as COVID-19 variants, like the Brazil variant or the Indian variant or the South African variant, and those will get pretty racist, pretty fast. So they'll be offensive on two levels.
I just don't feel like anyone in Britain's going to do that. They might do it in America, but I definitely don't see it happening over here.
No British person has ever worn an offensive Halloween costume. Please Google Prince Harry Halloween costume. So, but yeah, I think that this year...
Has Prince Harry done an offensive Halloween costume?
I think he was the one who one year dressed up as a Nazi.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he genuinely?
All right, now I got to look this up.
I can't believe this. I'm looking it up.
Wait, I can't spell Halloween. Yep.
No way. How old was he?
Oh, I think he was still a teenager. He looks so young in there, too.
He was 20.
Oh,
I
well.
can't believe that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
In the photo, he looks horrific.
He does.
He looks awful in the photo.
Very scrawny. But yeah, I feel like Halloween's going to be very big this year because people are going to be very excited. It'll be like the first holiday when people are finally like, we can maybe reemerge and be in big groups and things. So I think people are going to be excited for Halloween. There's going to be lots of Raya the Last Dragon costumes. No?
I have no idea what that is.
Well, I don't know. It's a thing on Disney. Maybe it's popular. I can't tell. Disney Plus, they're trying to charge you like $30 to watch the movie, even though I already have a subscription to Disney Plus. And I'm like, fuck that noise. That's gonna be my other prediction, is that Disney will give up on that model because it sucks and nobody likes it. They tried to do that with the Mulan remake, and they did it with this Raya the Last Dragon. Which I'm like, I don't even care. Like, at least people knew what Mulan was. And I think they're gonna try and do it with the
Mulan.
they're gonna try and do it with the Black Widow movie, and then I think they'll give up on it. So, anyways, but yeah. So Halloween, happy Halloween, everybody. And
I can't believe I didn't know that about Harry. That's crazy. Well, okay. Well, maybe they do offensive costumes over here. I just didn't really think Halloween was a thing over here. Like, I've just not seen a huge amount going on at Halloween. Like, I know there's like there is sweets and stuff, but not nearly like it is in America. Like, when I lived in New York for a couple of years, people were crazy about it. Like, and they started dressing up like 2 days before, and you'd be freaked out because there'd be like a man running down the street covered in blood, and then you'd be like, oh, it's Halloween. Or it was genuine. It's hard to tell.
like 50-50 usually.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Great predictions. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm very excited to get to our guest.
Yeah. Let's go talk to our guest. Please welcome to the show the El-Salomons, Jess Salomon and Eman El-Husseini, comedians and hosts of Comedians versus the News on the BBC World Service. Welcome to the show, ladies. How are you doing today?
Thanks for having us. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Tara.
So good to see you guys. I'm so excited you're on the show. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So excited to be here. We really love your Australian accent. It was one of our last trips before the pandemic started. We really fell in love with Sydney. And so now when we hear anybody with an Australian accent, we have to stop them on the street, tell them how much we love Australia.
Which hasn't happened.
It happened. Of course it happened. It happened when we went to see your mother and we ran into a guy with a dog, remember? And he was Australian. We're like, are you from Australia? We like totally like fanning out. And he was like, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, have we talked to anyone on the street? We
only speak to Australians on the street.
Yeah.
I felt bad because when I listened to your podcast today with Ray Badran, I was just like, he sounds so much more Australian than me, and I felt really jealous, and I was like, I've got to ham up my accent more.
Step it up.
Because I live in the UK and I've lived over here for like 8 years, and my husband's English, and I feel like he's sort of like melded into my accent. So I think melded is a word. I don't know if it is a word, but anyway, regardless.
Let's just say it's an Australian term.
It's an Australian term. Anyway, I felt really jealous of that accent, so I was like, I'm gonna start being like, so I am Australian. But anyway, how are you guys, and like what's happening? Where are you at in your lives sort of right at this moment? Because obviously we'll be talking to you again in 6 months, so what's going on for you kind of now?
I want to tell you guys that, but can I just say that I don't mean again, Tara, I keep making you feel bad, but I feel like Ray's in the UK too, right? And he still has. But let's just assume he's single. I have no idea.
No, he has a partner. He said he had a partner.
Maybe they're Australian, so he's kept his accent up. But the Australian accent is so strong, like it can be so strong. And when we went to Australia, and I was in the hotel in an elevator with with Australian people, and they were all commenting on my accent. And it was just such a weird thing thing for me to be like, wait, I'm the one with the, listen to yourselves. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah.
Because we went for coffee and it was like, you know, we knew that Australia was huge on coffee, and something that we learned from some Australian friends, we had no idea. And so when we went to Sydney, we ended up, every place we had got a coffee, it was amazing. And they were so serious about coffee and food. And I mean, all things that maybe people don't know about Australia. It's not like the stereotype.
The quality is like
so
above
good.
And beyond.
So good.
I miss the coffee so much. It's so much better over there.
It should be known for that. Everyone's like, oh, you know, I'm on my Italian espresso or my, you know, Parisian cafe or whatever. But Australia, it kicks ass. And because they take it so seriously, I'm just telling this story because I think Eman likes it. We went to this.
I do like it. It's like an equivalent of a gift.
It's like a gift. She loves gifts. So it was just me not understanding the accent. But we went to this one coffee place and I ordered a mocha or mochaccino, whatever. Some people say mocha, some people say mochaccino, tomato. And they at the end of the bar, you know, it goes through the process, and at the end of the bar, they gave it to me.
Well, they gave it to you with other coffee orders, and then
and then the guy gave it to me, and he said, "Do you want to try it?"
He said, "Do you want to try?"
He said, "Do you want to try?" I heard, "Do you want to try?" Like, "Do you want to try the coffee?" And then,
but
like, as if it was no, but you're giving it away.
Oh.
Now I gotta edit that out.
Okay, pretend.
Okay, wait.
So we go to this one coffee place. I order a mocha, and it goes through the process. And at the end, the guy hands me the mocha, and I hear, "Do you want to try?" As if it's a wine bar, where I smell it and I swoosh
Would you like
it around.
to sniff the plastic lid?
Exactly, and then I tasted it like in his face. So I'm like standing there. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this whole thing like to give the proper, you know, seriousness to the taste. And so I take a sip, looking at him in the eyes while I'm doing it. I'm like, I'm like, it's great. It's perfect. I didn't know if he was like, maybe it needs more chocolate to coffee ratio. It's not strong enough, you know? And so I was like, no, it's really well balanced. Thank you. You know, and then I realized he just was like, do you want
And he just looked at her blankly.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to fit. I'm just trying to respect. He's like, he wanted to know if I wanted a tray with my coffee, and I just wanted, So tray is try, you know.
Yeah.
And our half hour is up. We'll talk to you guys in 6 months.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
It was
that was so much fun. Thank you.
I've had that with New Zealand when a friend of ours from New Zealand was like, "Oh, I'm just going to go out on the dick." And I was like, "You're going to go out on the what?" And she was like, "The dick." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she meant the deck as in like the balcony.
Right.
But I was like, literally just thought she was going out on someone's dick. Anyway, it was very confusing.
That's what when I go out at night in my previous life when I was straight, you know, and so people say I'm going to go out and like pick up. I'm going to go out on the dick. That's what I'm going to go out.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, most of the guys you picked up were on a balcony. So it actually,
wow,
comes
that's
full
beautiful.
circle.
I love guys on the balcony.
I don't know. I tried to do a callback. It didn't
That's
work.
I loved
work.
it. I thought it was
Thank
beautiful.
Yeah.
You never go for doing callbacks. Look at you. Okay. Well, these are all
I took
things
a
that,
risk.
listen,
This is where we're at, you
in
guys.
the pandemic. Is
Right.
we're exploring new things, even in comedy. Eman's going with the callback. They'll get better.
It's nice you can still surprise each other after this long in a relationship. You know, you're both growing as people, and you can, you know, there's still areas
There
to be
are
explored,
surprises,
facets
you're right.
to be discovered. How long have you guys been together?
10 years.
10 years.
Years. And the last year felt like 10 years on its own.
So it's like 100 years.
That's it.
I don't know how to do that math, but yeah, that sounds about right.
When people ask what the secret is to being together for so long, 100 years, like a global pandemic, that's what you need.
I was wondering actually, because I really love the comic strip, and I was thinking about the one where Eman was in isolation. Was that kind of actually just like a secret holiday? Was that like a sort of like, yeah, no, I've definitely got COVID, but it was actually just to have a break and have all the cooking done for you?
I mean, it was the greatest, and yeah, it was so good. And Jess is really like, I discovered something new. You talking about like being surprised about your partner and still learning new stuff. Jess is an amazing cook, like really good. I know it's like wrong to say this, but my wife belongs in the kitchen. You know what I mean? Like she's so good. But it drove you nuts. But she's the one who wanted me to isolate. I really didn't feel like I had COVID, to be honest. Everybody was surprised the doctor was surprised when she called me to tell me that I tested positive for COVID. but Jess treated me like I was actually the actual virus. You know, she just like locked me up in the bedroom and didn't let me go out of it ever, and then forced me to open the windows because she didn't want COVID in the apartment. I pulled my back in November and I'm still suffering. I'm on such hardcore drugs, you guys, because of this.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that.
But at least I got good meals out of it. But it really felt like a luxurious prison cell.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that there are people here that are listening and thinking, and understanding that, Iman tested positive for COVID, not with a rapid test, with the PCR. The percentage of error for a positive test, PCR, is very, very small.
0.001. And I've always told you I was special, but you don't want to believe me.
You're just so well on tests. That's what your mother always said. So good on tests.
She dropped out of college. But I didn't want to get COVID. We were in a 1-bedroom apartment. So luckily we have 2 bathrooms. So she slept in the bedroom and had to use that bathroom. And I locked her in there and I wanted her to open the window from time to time. And unfortunately, we found out when she did the antibody test a month later. We did a whole we took bets and we took money for people. We did a whole IG Live reveal.
We took money from people that we gave to charity. You act
like.
Okay.
No, I mean, sorry. Like people sent money to vote one way or the other.
They were betting. We made a bet. Yeah. Who's right.
And then and all contingent on the antibody test. And she didn't have antibodies. So my team, which was the asymptomatic team, Iman was false positive team. We lost. But the money all went to charity. And it was a very fun thing. The very negative thing that happened was in opening a window that doesn't normally get opened, she strained her back, and it's been
in November, you guys.
Oh my God,
in the last few
that's
month,
awful.
we now know from an MRI that she has a slip disc, and it's
Oh,
hitting
no.
her nerves. So really, I haven't lived that one down.
I'm really sorry to hear that. That's awful.
But
Oh,
I am a good cook. I hate to cook. A lot of people have really gotten into cooking during the pandemic. I am good at it, but I haven't been doing it with any joy. It's been mostly like a defensive cooking because Iman loves food, and I've just been worried about her going to restaurants. Before it was okay, because she just really craved something. So I
can't eat anything else. I'm like a pregnant woman, but I'm not pregnant. So it's like if I want to eat a specific thing, we need to get it. Otherwise,
She's like, I really want Indian. I'm like, okay, I've never made Indian before. Okay, I could do it. And then I just like New York Times, recipes. Like that's been a go-to for me. And a couple of white women Instagrams that do Indian food and have been canceled. But it's like you make it easy enough for me to know how to do it.
Right.
Shout out Allison Roman. Anyway.
So I forgot how we got on this.
So we are.
Are you guys going to talk to us in 6 months? I don't think you're going to call us back. That's it.
We're
taking 2 hours.
I think we'll still be talking to you in 6 months. Yeah,
Exactly.
They'll have closed the computer. They'll have logged out of the session, and we'll still be here.
Right.
I'll get up in the middle of the night. My computer's still on. You guys are still here talking. Like what? I left like hours ago.
It's nice. It's really lovely, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt, you go.
I think Tara was talking about the cartoons you do.
Yes.
Which one
I
of
love
you?
them.
Yeah, I think they're so sweet. I'm friends with you guys on Facebook, and they pop up every once in my feed. They're always very sweet and very cute,
sweet.
very relatable. Which one of you makes, or do you collaborate on those, or how do those work?
I come up with the jokes.
No.
She edits and re-edits and re-edits.
Lies.
No, it's usually so the whole cartoon thing started with our back and forth on Facebook. We would just like post status updates on like what she said and what I said, and people really engaged a lot of people, and Jess suggested one night that we should have a cartoon based on our lives, and I thought perfect. We're getting old. We're gaining weight. The cartoon we could be skinny.
The idea was eventually to have a cartoon sitcom, like to have a series on television is like the ultimate goal. But as we all know, when you set very big goals, you don't even start working on them. So like, forget us writing our pilot. I mean, even during the pandemic, it's not, people are like, oh, I'm going to write my pilot. I mean, but I thought, well, if we just have small goals of doing a weekly vignette, of a, article, she said, we could definitely handle that. And we have a very close friend who lives in London, actually, England, not Ontario, named Jesse Brown, and he's the illustrator, and he's so talented.
He did our wedding invitations, and yeah, we just love his work. He's a close family friend, and yeah, so we said, let's collaborate.
He drew us for the invitations, and according to my mother, wow, he really made you look thin, and that's when we're like,
my God.
well, we should
we should definitely
work with him,
Yeah.
and he was up for it. Yeah, the idea of the cartoon series on television is that way, yeah, we could gain weight, we could get older, and we're cartoons, so
Yeah.
who cares?
It's fantastic. I love it. So yeah, I think that's so awesome, and it's so nice and freeing. And I love the comic. I really hope it gets developed into a TV series. That would be amazing.
I should say there's other reasons for making it a cartoon other than us being able to get old and fat, but it's also makes it easy for people to see. I think easier for people to see themselves in us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though not everyone's a Jewish, Palestinian, Muslim, lesbian couple. I mean,
Not everyone, but most people.
Most people.
It's a
but
fair the pie, the slice of the pie is bigger.
we want to reach the Matthews, and we want the Matthew to be able to say, in my relationship, I'm the Eman El-Husseini, because I think, people ultimately can, we have such different personalities, and they can see us, can see themselves in, being the Jess or the Eman.
I think that's going to be one of those great debates one day. Are you the Jess or the Iman?
That would be nice.
Yeah.
That should be your book of relationship advice. Are you the Jess or the Iman?
Yeah, I love that. That's a good idea.
You guys could totally do a relationship book. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that was also a pandemic plan that we never got around.
But it's good. No, it's good that we're talking about our pandemic plans.
Yeah.
Because we'll fast forward to 6 months from now, and we don't want to get ahead of the podcast format. But.
That's all right. I mean, that's what we're here to talk about. So these days, what you're doing now, you're in the middle of season 2, I think it is, of Comedians versus the News.
We have one episode left.
Right near
Exciting.
the end.
Yeah.
Nice. How's that been going? Or
Pretty good. I mean, it was really a blessing for us. We moved to New York from Montreal, Canada, for comedy and for the hustle that New York offers. We were out every single night doing 2 to 3 shows a night. Aside from traveling back to Canada to perform across Canada, it was just we were always either on the road or just hustling New York. And the pandemic started, and obviously comedy is the first thing to go.
Yeah.
Everybody's really the least necessary thing, comedy. So we lucked out. We went back to Canada. Just wanted to tough out the pandemic in New York because we've been here for 4 years. She's like, we're real New Yorkers now. We're staying here. And I'm like, we're Canadian. We're getting the hell out of here.
Yeah, I was very much Fran Leibovitz is still here. I'm not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Of course.
And the mom's before they close the borders, we need to go now.
I'm get me out of here. Andrew Cuomo's begging for medical supplies on TV. I'm like, I cannot die in the emergency room before even being seen by a doctor. Forget it.
Right.
So we lucked out. We had performed in Montreal a couple of years ago. We were doing the Just for Laughs festival, and BC happened to be there, and they put on a show, and they asked us to perform together, and we said no way. And
we didn't have a duo act, and the World Service
exactly.
has a huge audience, and it seemed like a big risk for the first time just put it on tape, without having done it before. But
but this very persuasive British woman called us. Philippa, she's the best. So she's like, listen, you guys do it. I wish I could do a British accent, but she said, you guys, I'll do one part with a British accent, our favorite part of the conversation. But she said, how about you guys try to do something together for 5 minutes on stage and 5 minutes separately? And if it doesn't go well together, then we'll just air your sets. We're like, okay, Philippa. And we'll do it. We'll do it. But if we end up getting divorced because you made us work together, it's on you.
Philippa, you have to provide spousal support to both of us. So
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, our favorite part was when she called us and she told us what words we couldn't say in our sets. So she's like, you cannot say the F word, the C word, or coke. And we're like, fell off our chairs laughing. So we just quote her often. No F word.
No S word. No F word. No coke.
Coke.
Yeah. You don't mind saying that. All right. Okay.
Yeah, no, she's the greatest. So we ended up performing that day. The show was an amazing show. They really liked us working together. We have the whole thing of being married, the novelty or the comeback of a duo act. That was a huge thing, and it doesn't exist as much anymore. And just seeing wives on stage together,
The novelty made up for the lack of polish, I think, at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, because we're visibly annoyed too when we work together, and I think people enjoy that.
Really, I didn't get that vibe from you guys. I was not picking that up.
Once in a while, Iman tries to put something in our act that's just like very like sweet and loving. I'm like, who wants to see that?
Nobody wants to see it. It's so true. It's so true. I tried.
A happy comedian, come on.
No.
But that was how the thing the BBC started, and it's been very fun. The first season was all about leading up to the election, but this season we've been kind of talking about everything, and it's been nice not to have to talk about your MP Cook. And really like the highlight is that we get to meet comedians that we've never even necessarily heard of, who are just like huge in their countries and are so funny, and they have all different accents and different perspectives, more importantly, and so that's been cool.
And just discovering things, we'd never necessarily read up about other things happening around the world, so that was a great form of escape for us during a Trump administration.
Yeah. I mean, you've been wrapped up in the Tanzanian.
I'm so into Tanzania. Yes.
That's been your. She had a thing about the president who was,
I wrote one thing about him and he died.
Yeah, and then a couple weeks later he died. He was a guy who was, very much about prayer is all you need for COVID. And
oh wow,
I know. And anyway, I don't know what he died from, but I don't know. I don't even know if it was COVID. And then they had now they have a hijabi,
a Muslim woman. His vice president became president.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Anyway, these are things we would never have been.
That's exciting.
Iman killed him. That's what happened.
It seems like that's what you're implying, but I don't think for legal reasons I might have to cut that out. So you don't. I don't want Interpol on your ass, just trying to track you down.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like you get an amazing diversity of comedians from like different countries around the world. I like to think that I know a number of comedians. I only recognized one American comedian on the lineups, but they've all been extremely funny, and it's very interesting to hear them from their own nation, talking about the issues and talking about the things that are important to their nations and things. And yeah, it's a really fun podcast. So, and you guys did your first live show the other day?
Yeah, that was so much fun.
That was a highlight. It's just, having an audience, as you know, it's been so hard with Zoom comedy, and now I'm grateful where people have their cameras on and I can see them smiling at least. But with BBC, they really did. They got like a huge audience.
Yeah.
People all over, and they could see us on Zoom, but Zoom wasn't used for the audio, so you didn't have the feedback. You didn't have anyone's laughter overtaking anybody else. They were all on a separate sound or like voice thing called prereq, and they just and we could talk over the laughter. It just, I don't know, it was really cool how they set it up.
Which is important for you to talk over.
Yeah. I will say, like the laughter on that live show was so much better than any other like Zoom recorded show. It's like the BBC, they somehow have perfected the art of like really just flawless audience laughter through in all their shows. Like, I don't know what they've done, but I have a friend who's a sound engineer, and she explained it to me once, and I was like, witchcraft. But yeah, it sounded amazing.
Yeah, they sent us something to listen to. They sent us a live show that they had recorded on Zoom and with all of, the equipment that they have. And it sounded so great. Jess and I were like, for sure, this is like a laugh track. There's no way this is for real. It just sounds too good to be true. But it was 100% the audience.
So season 3, is that coming up soon?
We don't know yet.
We don't know.
I
mean, it depends on the budget. The government has got to like review what they give the BBC and if they need more money for the economy, COVID, or who knows. We're not sure yet. Maybe.
Well, fingers crossed for you guys.
Well, if people like it, email the BBC and tell them we want more comedians versus the news.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, sadly, this won't come out for 6 months, so hopefully in 6 months.
Oh, that's right.
It's out.
But, yeah.
Hopefully in 6 months you've been given a third series, so there's no need to email.
It would be relevant. And then it worked. We worked. It Iman, just put that out in the universe. Good things out now, not assassinations.
Right.
Yes,
yes, exactly. Do not kill presidents. Just wish for a third season.
Oh, yeah. Like, is there anything that you're really into at the moment, that you've got into recently that's not work related that you've been really enjoying? It could be sort of like, as in, a lot of people.
Yeah. I would just give Iman a chance to answer.
I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
I thought she had, because Iman was really thriving at the early days of the pandemic.
But now my back hurts. I can't work out.
No, I was a complete mess, and Iman was, do a Duolingo, Spanish.
Learning Spanish, reading books. You know, I was really getting into it, exercising, training our puppy. I mean, I loved it. I felt like the pandemic came at a perfect time too, because I was on the road for like 2 to 3 months. I'm like, good timing. My 2 last shows got canceled and I really, really embraced it. It was so great. I felt like, but I didn't think it would last a year. You know, I thought it would be 2-3 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, but something specific that I've gotten into aside from wine.
That's not new.
That's not new. Yeah, I guess I'm still me. I'm still Jenny from the block. I'm still the same person.
You mean the pandemic hasn't made you forget the little people?
No, exactly.
That's
It's
really
still me.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And Jess, you said that did you say it was really bad for you? Like you were really struggling in the beginning?
Yeah, I had a hard time leaving New York. I felt that we had spent a good number of years here. I guess 4 odd years. I love building our life, you know, building a sort of a place in the comedy scene. I loved running around. I loved my day-to-day life in New York and being, you know, in front of people and seeing the comics and just also doing everything that New York has to offer. So going back to Canada, I don't know. It was like such a nice option that we had that. We were lucky, but for some reason, I don't know, it just started to feel like such a step backwards. I just was worried about losing stuff, you know, losing everything that we had been building, all the shows that we had planned, canceled. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm at an age. I really feel like the pandemic's been the most, people that have aged the most are the people that are in their early 40s who rely on being out every night with people in their 20s to keep them young, you know? Because like now I'm just like, am I just retired? Because before I was like, okay, go, like as long as I keep going, like I'm good, you know, but if I stop, this might be it for me, you know? So that was, I was having a hard time at first with all of it.
But is there anything new?
I mean, honestly, just like what's been new for us is being at home every night. I mean, we really live like a suburban life. Like we, you know, in New York, we were never home at night. Mm-hmm. And now, you know, we're home together and like, well, what are we going to watch? You know, we were never home to like watch a show, cook. And the idea of doing that when things were busy was orgasm. Like, oh, I can't believe it. I don't have anything tonight. And like, it was so special to just be like, wow, I guess I just get to stay home tonight. But then after a while, you're like, why are we in New York? We're like, we might as well be living in some random suburb because, you know, we don't, you know, have a life outside. But I'm a big procrastinator. And when people ask me what I wish my superpower was, I wanted to be able to like pause time because I just always wanted more time, whether it was like to take a nap or to finish working on something or to, you know, I always wanted a deadline extended and the pandemic really felt like that. And so part of me was like, you know, like a lot of people were going to get so much done, you know, all these projects.
But you have to keep in mind that you're not motivated, right? So regular life, like I miss taking the subway. You would never hear a New Yorker say I miss taking the subway, but just, you know, interaction with other human beings, even hearing them, not necessarily talking to them, just getting some kind of observing people. Now everybody's like walking far away from each other. Nobody's really talking. Mm-hmm. You know, you're not just like starting conversations out of nowhere. We're not going to see shows. We're not seeing comedians on a regular basis hearing what they're talking about. You're getting zero. You're just getting the dog poop. Like that's it, you know? And like scrolling down Twitter. So it's so much
scrolling,
hard.
guys. Yeah. I don't know. Like the doom scrolling. I mean, it's a little bit less now since Biden, but holy, you know, and then there was the night on Twitter where Trump got COVID and it was, you know, East Coast time. I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 in the morning, but I was there. You know what I mean? I was of course I was there. And I was like, yes, finally it paid off. You know what I mean? Me being here scrolling, this is what I've been waiting for. And of course he was fine. But the people on the West Coast were like, oh, the East Coast, they're missing out. They're all asleep. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is what I've been training for. Of course I'm right here. You know, what do you think? Where else would I be but Twitter, you know?
Right. Oh, that was so depressing as well because he totally was like, came back strong, didn't he? We're all like, come on, he's going down.
Oh, man. But yeah, I would, my goal for 6 months from now is to...
Did they even ask the question?
No, but I just want to say, and this is just putting it out there, is that I want to be famous enough that I can close up all my social media accounts.
That's my goal too.
That would be so nice, wouldn't it? Like, I'm
just never have to make a post on a Facebook page again.
Ever again. I'm sort of at that point now. Like, I just like don't even care if I'm ever famous. I just don't want to worry about it anymore. I don't.
My last post will be about this podcast in 6 months, and then I'll shut it all down.
Thank you. Definitely hold out until that. And are you back in New York? You said, or we came
back in August.
We've been back since August 1st.
Like Jess says, we came back right when?
Oh, when they opened up outdoor dining, baby. We were like, we can get back to New York. It's safe, you know.
I mean, like, nothing is grosser than outdoor dining in New York. Like, it's such a disgusting city.
It's not the Champs-Élysées, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What part of New York are you in?
Brooklyn.
Today is the day that comedy clubs are open at like 30% capacities, like the first is April. Yeah. Basically,
Wow.
our Governor Cuomo is in so much trouble politically because like 10 women have come forward about sexual misconduct. Healthcare people have come forward to say that he said to give preference with vaccines to his family.
Right.
And also he lied about deaths in nursing homes and covered it up. So I think so he's just like, all right, okay, you guys you want to see comedy? Fine, okay, the comedy clubs have been begging him in entertainment industry. Oh, It's open. And you know what? Weed legalized. Okay, they just legalized weed.
Did they?
Yeah. Like
Oh my
lot
God.
of people had been begging him to take care of this solitary confinement thing in prisons.
Oh, yeah.
He
He's on
hadn't
top
done
of
it. He's like signed and delivered. Like it's just like whatever, like you want, but I'm not resigning. It's insane.
I mean, like, at some point, you're like, all right.
Yeah, and then it's also like just vaccines. Like everyone can have a vaccine.
Okay, so we know what's going on now. So what are your goals for the next 6 months? Like, you have any big plans for the next 6 months? Anything you want to
Oh
try
my
to
God.
hit?
So I think getting back to normal as far as hopefully, being vaccinated, performing again. I didn't realize this. When the pandemic started, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not the extroverted person that I thought I was. I don't miss anything
Right.
or anyone. This is great. I'm heading to a silent retreat when everything is over. I love this. But just like the other day, Jess and I were supposed to go to an art exhibit together, like down the street somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if Jess tricked me because she's like, okay, we have to go at 6:30. She went to walk the dog. She never came back. So I don't know if she was like sending me to the exhibit by myself so she could have the house to herself. And I mean, I was on set. I forgot how much I love talking to. I like came back and she's like, did you coke? I'm like, no, I just spoke to a stranger for half an hour. I'm so like, so excited. So just like interacting with people again.
She's like, you spoke to a stranger about what? Nothing.
Yeah.
That was the best part.
Well, we just like really bonded. I was wearing a Notorious B.I.G. shirt.
Right.
And so we started talking about hip hop and how much I love B.I.G. And it's like B.I.G. over Tupac any day. And I'm also a huge Lil' Kim fan. And the exhibit was pretty political. So we got into that. I'm Palestinian and, forget it. So it was really, I was like on a high and then I had a show on Zoom that night. And
you're
I was
Palestinian. I'm black in America. Like, yes, this exhibit's about white supremacy and you guys were on a roll.
I mean, forget it. I'm like, we're best friends. We follow each other on Instagram. It was like, I forgot that I was like that, when we'd go out, Jess would be like, can you go get a cup of coffee, but please like keep it under an hour. I just socialize and talk to people. And I didn't realize how much I thrived on human
forget
connection.
that about you because during the pandemic, Eman, I mean, anytime there was like a doctor's appointment or, an interaction with, at one point you wanted a speech therapist you thought you needed for the podcast.
I have pronunciation problems.
But I started, and then I see her getting some laughs, doing material, with the doctor, with the speech therapist. I'm like, I think you're just paying people to have an audience. Because she was on such a high afterwards, like, oh my God, and I'm like, how was the appointment? What did they say about your health? She's like, they laughed so hard when I,
But I had so much fun. Like, even when I'm not a huge police person, but like in Canada, when we had a cop knock at the door, I was like so excited. I opened the door before he even like rang the doorbell. I'm like just talking to somebody.
Imagine we're like, listen, guys, what we wanted to say is we're gonna work to support the police when we get out of COVID. That's what we want to do for the next 6 months. Is just make sure we get a bigger budget.
Right, Blue Lives
weapons.
Matter. Like that's your new thing.
Yeah. Just being a part too would be great to like revive the romance. You know what I mean? Like our apartment always felt so huge, in New York terms, but it never felt smaller because now we're both together all the time.
Sure. I guess I would say that goals other than social media for the next 6 months is to remember how to do stand-up again.
Right.
Have my brain come back. So that I could remember it's Elaine on Seinfeld. I mean, honestly, like all I can think about is travel and
sitting by a pool or on a beach. I love love to be tan. I look
Yeah.
so much better. I feel like it's free makeup, okay? I really need to be in the sun on a beach or a pool.
I also want to do all the things that I said I would do during the pandemic. I want to read a book, all the things
I
that
got
I
to read some
promised
books,
you
though,
did.
for real.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and write, finish a pilot, whatever. All
Well,
the
that's-
pandemic goals that I didn't accomplish, I want to do after the pandemic.
Well, you know
Right.
what they say. I mean, the common saying is like, if you want something done, give it to a busy person.
That's
like,
true.
like Tara and Matt with the
Exactly.
young kids.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
They have
No,
kids,
I
they
can-
have a podcast, they have,
Yeah.
That's a lot of it.
That's all we know about you guys. We know that there's more.
Yeah. Well, Matt organizes the Oxford Comedy Festival. So if you guys ever want to come over here and do the Oxford Comedy Festival, it goes on before the Edinburgh Fringe, and it's a fantastic festival.
Yes, we do.
It would be amazing, if you guys were interested in coming over.
Yes.
I love that I'm just like pimping out your festival, Matt.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
It's like 50-50 happening this year. So
Yeah. It might
Fingers
happen, but-
crossed.
I'm-
You can make it.
I'm already ready, Matt, the email. Like, just following up from Tara booking us on your festival. But what other goals should we say? Something that when we listen back.
I definitely want to get fit again. That's another thing. In 2019, you guys, I was in the best shape of my life in a very long time. And at least, in my 20s, I was pretty good. But that was like, I started doing comedy 15 years ago and forget it. I was like one of the guys just eating in the middle of the night, drinking
Right.
up a storm. I gained so much weight. I didn't even realize it because this is the thing with my body. I have really skinny legs. This is
Okay.
all 100% genetic. I have nothing to do with that.
Amazing legs.
Amazing legs. So I never realized. And I
Show
like,
everyone your legs.
yeah, exactly. And I'm very cleavagey, but I sort of, my upper body is like, my problem area is my stomach, but I never really realized because I would wear skirts and, V-neck shirts. So I'm showing off the assets. But then I gained so much weight.
It's
and
not
it
a
didn't
problem
hit
area.
me.
Society has told you that that's a problem.
It's a problem area. I look like, when you play American football, those things that the football players kind of like bang
The
their
tackling
body
dummies?
into. What is it called?
Yeah, the tackling dummy.
The tackling dummy. That's my body shape. The torso is the same thing. It's like a bag of potatoes. Anyway, and I never realized that I gained so much weight until I got really fit. In 2019, I was, it was like my second or third year of consistently going to the gym. And I look back at pictures and I'm like, this is totally my fat Elvis days. And now I'm like, and I never even realized that I was losing weight because I didn't have like an issue with my body. Like I knew I was overweight, but I wasn't, But then people, like random people that I would run into like once in a while at a bank or whatever, and they're like, oh my God, you look amazing. Oh, you look amazing. I'm like, I guess I'm so fit. It's so good. So I really, really got
This is
into
so
working. I got into working. I mean, Jess used to get
just
so
like
annoyed.
Iman's
but-
like, I'm going to get on the scale now. 6 months from now, I'm going to get on the scale again, and let's see.
So two last things. One, do you have any big swing predictions for the world? Like any wild predictions for the whole world you think will happen in the next 6 months? Can be about anything.
Honestly, I'm really hoping with Joe Biden taking like a really strong stance on the environment and climate change and all of that seriously, and the penis is shrinking. I'm hopeful that in how long you said? In 5 years or 6 months?
6 months?
In 6 months? I'm hoping that...
Or for 5 years, that you can say. You can do
Well,
two.
I'm just hoping that those two things combined will lead the world to take climate change more seriously. So I'm hopeful, especially again with Biden taking that stance of like, did he stop the pipelines, right? Because Canada's like really bad on it, which is embarrassing.
Well, he stopped one
Yeah.
pipeline.
Yeah. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that 6 months from now we'll be closer to a better climate change solution.
Okay. And then,
I want to make a prediction.
okay. There.
No. I predict that Bitcoin is going to keep getting huge. Everything's going to be an NFT. Just more capitalism, more control by Elon Musk and Amazon over our life. And politically, China's taking over. Those are my...
You know what? That's what America deserves for not voting Elizabeth Warren as president.
Okay. Your whole thing was Joe Biden saving us. Okay.
I think it's so much better, and we're
Oh, yeah,
moving.
I know,
He's
okay,
he's
yeah.
like being progressive. But
Right,
of course,
right.
it would have been. I mean, forget it. If Elizabeth Warren was president, we would be.
We'd be on the moon now.
That's it.
penises would be even smaller.
We would get rid of the penises altogether. It'd be a
Yay!
utopia. American utopia. Of smooth crotched people.
No penis, no justice.
Yeah.
Oh, like Ken's. Everybody's a Ken doll.
Everybody's like a Ken doll. Yeah.
I always
It's
found
a-
that very frustrating.
No
Be like,
penis.
where is his penis?
All right.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's a very straight. That's good. You're definitely not gay. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that, but I would say I'm somewhere in between.
Okay, so Justin Iman, we are not going to say goodbye to you because through the miracle of editing, we are going to continue this conversation seamlessly in 6 months' time. But one thing we do ask our guests is to set up a joke. They do not know how it is going to end. And so you'll give us the setup now, and then you have 6 months to think of the perfect punchline for this joke.
This is my setup.
Okay.
I'll
Have
write the
you guys?
punchline.
Okay. I miss plastic bags.
I mean, I got caught in the rain with paper bags and they ripped open. So that made me miss plastic bags.
Look at us connecting on something
I
that I don't remember I felt anything for.
But my Facebook status update was fuck paper
Yeah.
bags. Because when you walk in the rain with paper bags,
And you were thinking of the premise. I said,
it must have been in my
For
For
subconscious.
6 months, it's been
before.
rolling
That's
around
right.
in the back of your mind, and then it just
That's
pops
right.
out, fully formed, like the goddess Athena. Amazing. It's great. I love it.
what was going on with plastic bags? Was it because of COVID that we weren't getting them? I don't even I'm
She
environmental.
freaks out. Yeah, she freaks out when they give you plastic bags. I'm kind of like okay
Do they
with
still-
that, but you really lose
Do
your
they
mind.
not charge you for bags in New York? No.
They do.
Depends where you are.
But there's some like old school bodegas
right,
and
right,
stuff. They just like they'll secretly slip you a plastic bag. You want this?
It's the Wild West in those bodegas.
From under the counter, yeah.
a plastic bag and a Lucy cigarette.
Yeah.
She goes like, psst, psst, hey, take this. Just
Yeah, exactly.
don't let anybody see.
My God. Yeah, and like sometimes, man, there was like a 12-year-old kid who was working at the bodega the last time I went, selling alcohol to people and having shots with them.
That sounds.
Not our bodega, but deeper in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, it's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not out them. Or should we
I
out
know.
them? Like, they'll get some business.
No.
That's wow. So many laws being broken there. Justin Iman, how have
Yes.
the last 6 months been treating you?
Terrible.
The only laws here are that there are no laws. It's New York Fight Club.
Yeah,
Or so,
that's-
anyway.
yeah.
Sorry, that was.
You're still stuck on the
I-
bodega and the kid, the 12-year-old
Yeah.
kid.
No, I want to hear everything you have to say.
I just want to say that
Fill
it's
us
been
in.
terrible. The last 6 months have been terrible. It's just health scares. Jess and I have reached our limit of spending so much time together. And now we're working again, and everybody wants us to work together. So we're traveling together, so we're really not getting a break.
That was one of your goals for 6 months, was to spend more time apart.
I was gonna say, I in full disclosure, we haven't re-listened, but I would venture that 6 months ago, a predominant theme was needing time apart and to remember who we were as individuals creatively.
Yeah, but
So I must say,
No
though,
improvement.
we did really well for 1 year in the pandemic. But after the year, that's when things went downhill.
oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I think it was just our limit. Our limit was 1 year.
We're still together.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
Because you gotta pay rent.
we have, we don't have kids, but we have a dog and we have a duo comedy act, which keeps us together.
I think-
through hell or high water.
I think people would also pay to see a duo act of people who are divorced doing comedy.
Oh yeah.
Well, we
It's
sometimes-
very similar. I mean, our act together is pretty similar to a divorced couple.
There's a lot of, we create a lot
Argument.
of tension, as you do in comedy, because you hope that with the punchline you're releasing it into a laugh. But I think sometimes people wonder if the tension is artistically created or if it's real raw in the moment stuff.
Right, yeah. They're like, should we be witness? Should we go? We should go. The whole audience is just like, we should go. We'll go. It's fine. You just keep the ticket money. You need it. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you haven't been able to spend much time apart, but
Yeah. Well, I did plan some stuff on the road, and then, Iman came with me. So
but that was your
You
opportunity.
did ask me to, right? You asked me to.
I did, because at the end of the day, like,
You make it sound like I just tagged along to tag along. I'm pretty sure you asked me to.
Like you were about to go out the door and the mom was just there with her bags like, I'm going too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you get into this thing where like you kind of want to work alone and have time apart, but then we were going to, and this is some new things that have happened in the last 6 months. There's a little bit of comedy on the road, but going to places that I wasn't so comfortable going by myself, and it's just so much safer and potentially more fun to go together, especially to new places because doing tourism on the road alone is I'm less likely to do it. But we were going to Memphis and Nashville and Asheville and Chattanooga.
Which Which I kept
and-
calling Asheville, what is it, Wilmington, which drove you
Oh
nuts.
yeah.
Okay, well.
Some of those are nice towns.
We've been-
I used to live in Knoxville, which is not a nice town, but
Oh, great.
No, but that is on the sort of comedy circuit of little blue spots where people do
it
shows.
is. That's where I started doing comedy. I don't know who's left there, but there was a lot of good talent there when I was there. So
Okay.
We went to Huntsville, Alabama, and that was probably the scariest
Really?
stop we had. I mean, the brewery where we had our show was amazing, 805
The
bar.
bar at 805.
okay.
Anyway, the people were nice, everybody was progressive, but leaving the place, every single person, audience member or comedian, was like, be careful, be careful. And I don't know if it's like a saying in Huntsville.
Like,
or,
take care,
Yeah,
you know.
be careful. Or it's
Or
because we're
the-
like two women, lesbian, Jewish, Muslim. you
Right,
know. So we still don't
Some of them
know
are like,
if
take
it's
this
a
gun,
saying or-
please. It's
Yeah.
just keep driving until you
Yeah.
reach the border, and by the border I mean the New York border.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Memphis
That's
was pretty scary though when we got there. It just seemed so deserted.
Yeah.
The downtown was weird, but then when I later went back alone, and a couple days later, and I was in, I think I want to say like Midtown or East Memphis, and I was like, oh, okay, this is where all the spots are and where people live, and
Yeah.
it was
More happening.
But Memphis is, I mean, there's a real heaviness there that you're like, oh, this is why the blues are from here.
Yeah,
I get it.
for sure. Did you like Asheville?
Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing.
Asheville's.
We had gone 6 years ago for a festival.
And completely
Cannot
didn't remember.
Remembered having a good time.
Yeah.
And the show
taped
being
our
good.
sets.
I remember the show.
Yeah.
It was a tape I used for a long time, and it was in a pretty big theater, and they had, I guess, a Subaru sponsorship because they had an actual Subaru car on the stage behind you,
Really?
and then there was also like a brewery, so there was just like towers of kegs up high on the stage, and then a Subaru, and then like your microphone. So it was such a unique kind of setup, but it was a good tape and a great crowd, and so I used that tape for a while. So I really remember that. I don't remember, but
We
yeah.
don't remember how we got there. We don't remember where we stayed. If we
remember.
stayed, it's like the weirdest thing that we both have completely.
I want to say it's like COVID really wiped out some of my memory of things, but it might have been wiped out before. We just didn't have reason to try to remember it. But we went back. It was really fun. You get this. I got the sense a little bit that they're worried about becoming like Austin.
Yeah.
You know, there's already like a kind of bachelorette party weekend starting vibe, but it is still really cute
Yeah.
and low
progressive
key.
and great food.
Good-
Yeah,
good
it was
food.
very much the Austin of North Carolina. When Austin was really hip and cool, and Asheville was really hip and cool. It was just like, yeah, I imagine it's gotten pretty pricey these days, but I don't know.
I think it's still okay. It hasn't blown up totally, but a few tech bros move there, and the next thing you know.
That's how it is. So you've been doing road work. That's great. That's been good to get out on the road. Good to see new crowds, see new towns. That's good.
Very good, super fun. That's been a highlight, I'd say, of the last 6 months. Just remembering being out on the road. I mean, already like going back inside and doing stand up in front of people in New York, and getting back to stand up life here was like the first step. And then it's been fun just to be, like, change of scenery.
Yeah.
Seeing seeing comics in other towns and what they're talking about, and what's and especially in places with like kind of different politics, I'd say.
Where we're just like looking at each other like, do you think we could say this? This is not a Brooklyn room.
Yeah.
I don't know how liberal these people are,
Or like just like I'm like, do they know these stereotypes about Jews? Do they know any Jews? Like, you're just like, what's the IQ, like the reference IQ here?
Right.
do they believe in COVID? Did they?
Yeah, because I'm like, were they even under lockdown? If I make jokes, if I reference, gyms being closed, are they going to be like, well, I was there the whole time,
Yeah.
so I don't know what you're
I was getting to the gym every day.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for the most part, things went pretty well.
Yeah, all the
Yeah,
shows were
yeah.
really great. I would say we loved all of them. I mean, the Nashville show was my last show with you, right? And that was great. We got to stay at the Dolly Parton Hotel. That was awesome.
Ooh.
It's like a Dolly Parton themed hotel.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know how involved she is with it, but I've
The
never.
room that we rented, though, is she involved in that room, or
I
that's
know,
the,
no, it's
just
all just like a tribute to her.
a tribute to her.
tribute.
It was
Like-
great.
Okay.
Waterbed. We slept in
It
a
was
waterbed.
my first time in a waterbed.
How was that experience?
The dog.
That's what I want to hear about. Most of this might get cut, but the waterbed talk is staying in.
Listen, so this is something I didn't have it in mind as a thing like I need to do it, but once I saw it come up as like one of the options of the rooms they had at this hotel, I was like, okay, we have to. I thought it was comfortable. The only thing that I got a bit freaked out about, especially once Eman mentioned it, was that we weren't sure if it smelled a little bit moldy. And then I was Googling, like, do waterbeds get mold?
Right.
And the other thing is, we had to get that room. We had to rent it for 2 nights. And Iman was only going to be there 1 night. And then she and the dog were going back home. And I was staying another night in Nashville and then going to do a show in Memphis and flying back after that. So it was like a very cool kind of party type of room that is not the place you just go and stay by yourself.
Right.
But so the second night was just kind of like, me in the waterbed, the potentially moldy waterbed,
And
on my laptop,
Record player.
No, yeah, I was playing they had
Johnny
Casey
Cash,
Musgraves,
yeah.
Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton.
Yeah, water beds aren't really made
Yeah.
for one person. I don't think that's a
No,
team event.
I mean, and then you look up at the ceiling and it had like a mirror type
Really?
thing, and it's just
Yeah.
like me and my computer. Just like, I wonder what time Saturday Night Live comes on in the Central Zone,
That's hilarious. Well, that's fun. So, other work news: Comedians versus the News. What is season 3? What happened with that?
It might be
You know what?
in the works.
We're talking
It's
about
still in the
it.
works?
We're talking about it. We're talking about it. We just started talking about it with them. We thought it was
2
done
seasons
after
just
2
during
seasons.
the pandemic. Yeah.
We didn't feel like it was there would be a third season, so we had kind of forgotten about it. And then recently,
They
they
reached
reached
out.
out. So we're talking about maybe February.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully, with the 3rd season, we'd be able to do some live podcast tapings, which would be so
Oh,
much
nice.
fun.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's
Well,
a goal.
fingers crossed on that. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that
Yeah.
that's coming back. Did they contact you and they were like, "Did you stop making episodes? Because we were expecting episodes," and you were like, "We thought we were done."
No, when we were making episodes, they were very much in touch with us about where's the script.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. So, are you still on social media? Because that was also one of your goals, Jess, was to get off of social media.
Oh, yeah.
Who did you speak to?
You should really listen to the first half. I think that. Do you remember that I also had a co-host? She can't make it today, by the way.
Yes, we remember.
Yeah.
I remember.
My
His
Australian.
co-host? Come on.
My Australian co-host named Tara,
Yes.
she is actually in the
Yes.
process of moving to Australia right now, so she couldn't be here for this.
Lucky. I
Oh my
love
God, Esther
Australia.
just got excited to see you. And she's like, what's going on?
Talking about Australia.
So interesting. Yes, still on social media. I have not gained a single follower.
Oh.
Wasted more time for no reason.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Well, yeah, I'm still on social media too. It's in fact now I actually
I don't
now that I'm
think-
starting to promote shows again, I have to get more on social media, which I hate. So I didn't meet that goal.
I don't think I have a choice about social media.
Yeah, I know.
No, I think we're all stuck. For our career, we're stuck on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, how are we going to get booked otherwise?
No, you really, and now, I mean, I really should have been for a while putting up, comedy clips and on TikTok and trying to gain a following, because there's a lot of people that have built an audience in comedy that otherwise were capable of headlining comedy shows, but wouldn't necessarily go on the road headlining. But once they had built an audience, then, they were able to go on the road and fill rooms.
Yeah, I mean, Tara did really
Anyway.
gangbusters on TikTok during the pandemic. She was putting up little sketches and things, and they were going
Oh,
pretty
good
well.
for her. I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah, you should check it out. But you said that personally you've had some health issues. You had a slip disc. No, was it?
Yeah.
Was it slip disc?
Iman did a herniated.
disc.
So,
I think that's the same thing.
yeah, I think so. It slipped out.
Okay.
Hence, it's herniated.
Just popped out and.
Yeah, I guess it popped out. I used to sleep in a waterbed in the 90s, so no, I'm kidding.
No. Arabs. Imagine if that was a stereotype I just made up.
About
with
waterbeds?
Arabs in
yeah.
their waterbeds?
Arabs and their waterbeds.
I mean, it would be huge. I would think waterbeds would be huge in the desert. I mean, come
You
on.
would think, yeah. All right, so is this your
Maybe, I
retirement
don't know.
plan? You're going to move to the Middle East, open a waterbed outlet.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
Are
gonna
you
do.
dying of thirst? Sleep on water you can't drink.
Iman's Waterbed Wonderland.
Yeah.
But the health issues, so it started in November with a false positive diagnosis of COVID.
Right.
And then that went into a herniated disc,
Right.
and then fast forward, I still felt kind of bad. I think the medication that I was on during my herniated disc, which was a high dose of really terrible
Gabapentin.
medication. I was taking up to 1,200 to 1,500 milligrams a day,
Okay.
which is nuts.
Not only bad for the body, very bad for the personality.
Yeah.
I'm going to say.
So this is, I think it coincided with us not getting along anymore, because it's just, I was in so much pain and I was on this terrible drugs, and it was brutal.
It's
so
bad for mood.
It's terrible for mood. It's terrible for your body.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I couldn't just stop it. I had to wean off of it. So I was literally on these meds for like 4 months.
Oh, wow.
So, and I'm pretty sure it screwed up my digestive system.
Ooh.
I don't know if I have GERD or what. So I've been doing a lot of like tests and endoscopy and all of that to figure out what my problem is. I have an ultrasound next week. Hopefully everything will be clear, but I don't feel good. Like I just feel like something is messed up.
I'm sorry.
And I had to get a biopsy on my boobs because they found lumps in both of them.
Whoa.
And the good news is that the biopsy came back negative. Everything's benign. But
That's huge.
that's huge
very-
because I was like, I was ready. I was like, I'm gonna die. It's over. Do I write a book? What do I leave behind? Do I do a comedy special? I thought it was all done.
Just like, well, how is my career going to end?
That is it. Am I gonna do like what Bowie did, like work on this album, or what am I? Anyway, so it's a good news.
I
that,
cannot imagine.
No, I wouldn't. I'd be
You
like,
would
take me
be-
to Hawaii or
You
something.
would not
on
be
the
like
beach.
suddenly deciding to like work more.
You're right.
That's not your style.
No, at all. I might like leave a video journal or something. But so the good news, it came back benign.
Very good.
I'm gonna keep my boobs because I was so scared. So I was either like afraid that I was gonna die. If not, I'm gonna have to take off my breast. So benign. We're waiting for the digestive system stuff. But that health scare revived our romance,
Oh.
which is really good because we were in a really terrible fight.
You know, it puts things, a couple of biopsies on different areas of the body definitely puts things in perspective.
Sure. Jeez. Yeah. Well.
So, yeah.
So we were fighting terribly because Jess doesn't think I work hard enough, and she feels like she does all of the administrative work because I don't know the password to our website.
Mm-hmm.
Or that we have one.
I know that we have one.
Okay.
So
But you haven't visited it.
no, I have actually. When I wanted to go check on our shows in the south,
And
that
see
year.
where they were.
Yeah, exactly. What cities are we going
Everything
to?
I planned, yeah.
So in the midst of our fighting, where Jess wanted to like even go to couples therapy
Right.
because she didn't think we were
I
understanding
mean, do
each
you
other.
see that how she, like, suggesting couples therapy, she took as a personal insult.
I did. I'm like, we could communicate.
I
We're
wasn't
adults
like, you go. I was
who
like,
love
I think
each
we
other.
would, I think it would help, you know, before things get too out of control to have a third party professional.
I always
and
just
she
think
was like,
therapy
"How
is the
dare
step before divorce.
Well, if you let it go that far,
I'm not a fan. What do you want me to tell you?
Sorry.
Anyway.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm your couples therapist now. Is this? It's like, Eman, can you please use I statement?
Yeah.
we regret to tell you, but we did plan to use today with you as our first couples therapy session.
Okay. Hey, you know what? Good. I'm good. That's good because I've been married twice, so I'm pretty good at it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it revived our romance because we were in a huge fight one day where I went to get my mammogram and I didn't talk to Jess all day, and then I was like, and that's when they told me they had to do a biopsy. So I'm like walking the streets of Manhattan crying to myself because I'm like, I'm gonna die alone because my wife doesn't love me. Anyway, finally she texts and she's like, what are the results? What happened at the mammogram? Like with bitchy attitude. I could tell the tone was a little bitchy. And like still angry, you know? So I just wrote, I have to get a biopsy. And she's been nice to me ever since.
Jen, do you have a response to that?
Jen,
Seems like you have a look on your face like, that's not exactly the story as I recall.
No, well, that was that, and then you know, the issues that we were arguing about didn't go away. I just suppressed them because I just didn't feel it was appropriate given, you know, the diagnosis or the biopsy hanging over our heads, and until I did finally, I said a little something critical. Days later,
I said,
and Eman said,
hopefully I have
I
cancer.
hope to die of cancer.
So you'll feel relieved.
So you don't have to, you know, and just was like, for your relief and my relief that this is, you know, the end. And then we were in the car.
And Jess pretended like she was going to crash the car, and it really made me laugh. Because this one cries when there's turbulence on the plane as if she's going to crash.
I was like, oh, you want to die? Well, then it's going to be both of us.
Let's go to hell tonight.
And I like stepped on the gas, but you know, not that much.
Yeah.
In a parking lot.
Okay. So,
that was rock bottom.
Yeah, all right.
And,
that's good. So
yeah, I still think we should go to couples therapy for, you know, underlying issues, like just to get ahead of the curve and everything. But don't tell Eman I said that.
Okay. Hey, Eman. Couples therapy. All therapy. There's no shame in it. It can be an extremely useful tool for everybody or for anybody. And you know, couples therapy is not. Sometimes it is nice to just have, or it is helpful to have a third person in there that kind of helps just disentangle all the personal things that are going on, because you guys have been together 10 years now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of like things that have built up and been left beside, or like you've come up with all kinds of shorthands that are maybe like not addressing everything that the other person wants, out of the relationship and stuff, because it's just become easier or whatnot, all these different things, and it could be helpful to have a third person, theoretically. Just saying. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, I see that now, because it's the only difference that we've always had from the beginning of our relationship is how we perceive things completely opposite. So it would be good to get like a third party who's neutral, who will undoubtedly take my side.
Okay. And sure. But really, like, the main thing is like working. If we weren't working together, I would imagine that's like been always the main source of.
That's the thing, is that Jess
friction.
works harder and it pays attention to details, and I'm a lot more easygoing. So she gets frustrated because I kind of just like let her in the driver's seat and never want to drive, and I sit in the back like she's my Uber driver.
Right.
What could be the problem?
I don't know. That's the dynamic of.
But you know what?
Of my relationship as well, is that I'm very lazy and I let my wife do a lot of stuff, and it pisses her off. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just
so funny.
I'm just like, you can just decide things. I'm fine. I'm pretty happy.
I'm like that, yeah.
She's like, where do you want to go on vacation? I'm like, I don't care. You just figure it out. She's like, no, I don't want to plan the vacation by myself, because that's stressful. I was like, oh, I see. So
last vacation Jess planned, she got angry with me because I don't know if we were like by the pool or something, and she said, did you have the decency to at least look up what I planned for us? And I hadn't, because I was just like, I'll do whatever you want me to do.
100%.
But now I always have the decency to check
That's become
what
the
she
thing.
books.
Did you have the decency to even look at what activities this hotel I booked this at offers?
yeah, I don't know. Like vacations, I would just book vacations like the places where we go play pinball, and that's not what she wants. And so,
Right.
like, what
But if you know what she wants, wouldn't it be nice to like do a
surprise
little
her.
research and suggest something that you could do together that would be like up her alley?
That's true.
Like
it would be.
Imagine like that would feel so. I mean, as someone who I'm putting myself in her shoes, I feel like that would mean a lot.
No, but I planned a couple of things. I planned a couple of things that, you would have planned differently. Like when I took you to New Orleans for our anniversary,
nice.
and then I took you to Mexico, and I was too worried.
But the Mexico was great, and New Orleans we like it was
I
a good
should
place
have picked
to
a better hotel.
Yeah, I mean it was just we were right on like Bourbon Street or something, and
That seems appealing
It was a
until
bit,
you've
yeah.
actually been to Bourbon Street and it smells like vomit all the
Yeah.
time.
It
And
really
it's super
does.
loud.
Yeah,
Yeah. You're like, Bourbon Street,
Yeah.
we're right in the heart of it. And you're like, you're like Bourbon Street, we are right in the heart of it. Yeah. Relationships are complicated, but I believe in you guys.
thank you.
Me too.
All right, good. I'm glad to hear it. Is the herniated disc, has that been dealt with, or is that kind of healed it up? Okay, good. And
Yeah.
Without surgery and just with physical therapy,
And
that
a
was
lot of
such
drugs.
and
Physical
the drugs,
therapy was a
but
gift.
The drugs,
And acupuncture.
yeah.
oh, okay, that's good.
So that was very good. Yeah.
That's very nice. Cool. And then everything going well with the dog? Dog's good?
Yeah, she's
Regular
great.
bowel movement?
She's-
All that?
Well,
I mean,
Jess
that's-
gives her too many treats and feeds her too much chicken, in my opinion.
Jess, response to that?
I boiled chicken and I crumble it up kind of like a topper, and it's true that sometimes she just eats that and doesn't eat the kibble, which is like vet prescribed and supposedly has all the other like fiber stuff. But in general, I do think Iman overreacts to the poo and how much and how many times and whatever. It is a huge part of our daily conversation is our dog's movements.
Sure.
But I think she's great, and in general she's doing well. I mean, if we have to go get the anal glands expressed, we'll take a look at that, but otherwise she's very, very sweet, and we love her.
We do love her.
So, just looking back over the last 6 months, what do you think is the biggest kind of change you've experienced over the last 6 months?
Change?
Yeah.
I think it's, to me, it's like really physical more than anything. Although I gotta say, because I haven't been feeling great physically, it's affected me psychologically. Like I'm naturally a lazy person, but I think it got into like another level of laziness because I was concerned about my health.
Okay.
But my love for you grows every second of every day.
I'm sorry, I just had something in my eye. It was emotions. I have so many emotions. Oh, that was beautiful.
I mean, I
What
think
changed for you?
in the last 6 months, I think really the main change is just a little bit more of having some confidence in trying to have confidence in making plans future plans,
Right.
which I feel like, that was like just something that was not available to us.
Yeah.
So whether it was COVID or then like your health stuff, but now feeling really positive that it's nothing, life threatening, and that we can to book trips and like celebrations and see people again, go back to Canada. It's been so long,
Yeah.
I know, I'm like actually dreading it. We're going back, and
I'm excited.
like, yeah.
I feel like I'm ready to connect with other people, and just that sort of one more step towards like a normal life. Broadway opened here, and one of the things that Eman is really great with is romance and keeping, date nights alive and surprises and doing fun stuff together. And I don't think about that as much, but
Because we got to work.
well, we don't really work that much. That's the thing, is that we, planning fun stuff and switching the mindset towards like, okay, this is our world now, and I think this is a bit maybe going to be our status quo for the time being.
Yeah.
And you just hope, you get your booster, you get your mask when you need it.
Thanks
you
for
get
nothing,
tested.
anti-vaxxers.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's good that you're getting, that you're feeling more confident about the future. That is a thing that,
confident in that, like, making some plans, whereas I wasn't before, travel-wise, let's say. I still feel daunted by, climate change and... We did actually. We are going to move to a new apartment. That's something.
Oh, yeah?
And I love where we are. We're like near the water by the Brooklyn Bridge, and so we're just over the water in Brooklyn from Manhattan. So which is great, but we're in a flood zone here, and like looking down the road, I was like, maybe we should move further inland. So we're moving towards Prospect Park, which is the higher elevation in Brooklyn, and at a flood zone. I mean, so like I am thinking in those terms. Like I'm thinking future-wise,
right.
but with concern about it.
Yeah. I mean, like I have a friend who lives on the Lower East Side, and I'm like, second floor, probably not a great long-term investment.
Yeah.
But I think about those kinds of things as well. Yeah. But I mean, what are you going to do about that? That's not something we can affect individually.
Where are you living now?
Am I living?
In
No,
London.
where am I living?
In London. Okay.
No, I live in Oxford.
Oh, Oxford.
Oxford, yeah. Same
Got it.
difference. UK. Just we're the most landlocked city in the UK, so we're the furthest from.
Oh, you're safe.
Yeah,
That's good.
maybe. I don't know. I'm close to a river though, so safe is a strong word. But is anyone truly safe? But you're going back to Canada? When are you going back to Canada?
I'm headlining the Comedy Nest for the first time, and which is exciting. I hope that the people restriction, the limited seating, whatever rules they have are lifted. They're really cautiously behind stuff over there. And to my mind, if you require a vaccine pass to get in, like that should be sufficient.
Yeah.
And you should be able to like fill the room. But of course, if I don't sell tickets, it's a good excuse. So limited to 50 a show. The first weekend of December, I'm going to be at the Nest. And then the weekend before that, American Thanksgiving, last weekend in November, Eman and I are going to be in Ottawa, co-headlining and doing a bit of duo act at the Yuck Yucks, which is now in
a new
a
location.
hotel
The Marriott Hotel.
in Ottawa. They've moved. They were in a basement.
That got flooded when I was headlining
I
a few years ago.
While you were
I have a
headlining?
photo of myself.
Or you.
No.
Both of us were there.
I don't know if you were there.
You were in a garbage bag on stage.
I remember I was there because I think I was either featuring or hosting, and I'm pretty sure Derek Seguin was headlining because he was telling a story, and the audience started to not be laughing as much, and you could tell that he didn't know like why it wasn't working, and why it wasn't working is because the audience could feel water rising up, and he was like, something's off, but it was hard from the stage with the lights to like see what was going on like around people's shoes. And so I ended up putting a garbage bag, like each foot into a garbage bag, and like tying them around my thighs, and then like walking up to the stage, and I have a photo of it, and it's just one of those like, what are we doing with our lives? These comedy clubs,
I'm pretty sure there was a flooding when I was there once too, like from the bathroom or something disgusting like that.
Oh.
Like that went into the
It
club.
it almost seemed like you remembered the photo of me and you made the story.
I remember
your
no. I remember your photo, but I promise you, there's something happened. I just don't know if it was
Toronto
the same.
had often flooding in the downtown club when it rained a lot.
Oh my God.
Because I remember going to do a show there, like a showcase show, and there were people outside, and they're like, "Wait, why is the show delayed?" And I went in because I was a comic, and they were vacuuming up the water from the carpet, like hoping to just get it under wraps before like the audience came in just like, nothing to see here, everybody.
They really picked the best venues, hey?
Anyway, but we'll see how it goes. I do really love performing in Ottawa.
Yeah, they're so smart.
We always have a good time there. So
they're smart and cool and excited for entertainment, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Government town.
Yeah,
they're looking for lulls.
Jess said Ottawa made her gay.
What?
I lived in Ottawa and worked in the government for 1 year in the Department of Justice right after law school. That's when I started watching this show called The L Word. Do you know it? Now there's a Next Generation, but the original one, it was like a lesbian soap opera.
I know what The L Word is.
And okay. yeah. Okay.
I
know what The L Word
I know
is.
of it. I will admit I've never seen it, but I know of it. I know what it is.
I started watching that in my apartment after work. Like I'd go to the the Rogers or Blockbuster, and I'd get the DVDs, and I was like, I'd run home, close. And I hadn't ever been with a woman at that point, and then that's what got me interested in like having a lesbian experience. And
she was so bored in Ottawa.
Well, that's it. No, well, people think like TV. You can't say that TV doesn't make people violent, doesn't make people gay. It's like, well, actually,
like,
let's say it was the government that did it.
Just as a good ally to the LGBTQA community, I think I'm gonna have to cut that. Just TV made me gay, says Jess Salomon.
No, it was the government, but it obviously this was jokes, but it did spark a curiosity in me that I must have been there, of course.
And then you later sparked that curiosity in me,
and that's how the gay agenda works.
It's contagious.
Yes, it is. Like a disease is what what Matt is saying. Everybody.
No, yes, that's what 100%. This is the number one conversion therapy podcast on the internet. So,
and that's why we agreed to do it.
So I hope that works.
Yep.
I hope you guys get some nice husbands.
My dad's dream.
Well,
your dad.
All of our parents' dream.
Well, Iman's dad suggested we marry brothers,
so we could stay close. I know.
He was trying to be helpful.
How sweet, I guess.
Yeah.
Well intentioned, but it's hard to find one good man. You know, brothers. That's like a tall order. Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't want to marry. I don't know. Like my brother's not that great, and it doesn't matter. Anyways, but I'm just not that I want to marry either of you, but I'm just saying that like.
What?
This is over. I'm tearing out these earbuds.
I'm just saying that brothers can be very different. It'd be hard to find two that are great. So that's what I'm saying. Anyways.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm great. I'm in fact like kind of out of your league.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
That's a little bit.
We hear you.
Your dad's gonna be sad. Okay.
Okay. So is there anything that you wish you'd known 6 months ago that you know now? Just how much you love each other still?
Never to bring up couples therapy as a suggestion.
Just she's right there.
Damn it! She's always here. That's the whole thing. I mean, I'd love to know the results of her benign biopsy even weeks ago. It's nice to know that there's stuff to take care of and keep an eye on, but nothing life-threatening. That's always good information to have. The proof of, no, it's going to be okay, that part, and then everything else. Because if you have your health, everything else is manageable.
That's sure. Yeah, that's for sure.
I think.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of good news you definitely want to get right away. Not have to stress about it.
Well, I forgot to mention that she missed the flight to be with me during the biopsy. FYI.
I know. I was supposed to be on an early flight back from Memphis to take her to the biopsy, and I missed my flight for no good reason other than it was early and I cut it too close. And I cried at the check-in and it didn't help. And then I was like,
that stuff doesn't fly in Memphis.
I understand. No, the black
you don't say
flight
wife
attendant was like,
in Memphis.
no, I mean she was. It's like it was too late to check the bag. It's like if they cut it off, they cut it off. What are you gonna do? Like they were right. And I wasn't crying at that point as a way to manipulate or to convince them to let me on. I was just genuinely crying because I couldn't believe I had fucked up like that.
No, 500. Yeah.
And it's not out of character, unfortunately.
But that's the thing. I'm like, that's so typical of you. It's so adorable. I didn't even get mad.
I don't know. She didn't get mad. I was like, you know what? I'm calling the breast cancer place. I'm like asking them every detail about the biopsy. What time she'll be done? Does she need somebody to pick her up? I knew they weren't like putting her under. It was, but I mean, when I called you, I was so nervous, and
I know you thought I would get mad. I'm really like sometimes like moody.
It was very unpredictable. Yeah. It could have gone either way. But,
no, but it made me laugh.
I was.
It made me laugh. I thought it was so typical of you. Like, of course she missed the flight. Of course she couldn't like wake up on time, you know? And it was like kind of cute. But that's the difference between her and I'm okay with how she is, you know?
I love how you are too. I just want to be supported in our mutual business.
Wow.
Do you want to talk to us again in 6 months?
I do. I really, really do.
Never again. We're living in separate apartments, Nada. You're gonna.
We have to do this from separate
We need
rooms.
2 links.
Yeah. Actually, I'm starting to think about doing follow-ups a year on after the episode comes out. So maybe I will. If you may get an email from me in like a year.
Please.
So.
Yes.
Oh.
But
Sure.
I have absolute.
Halloween 2022.
Yeah. Do you guys do anything for Halloween? It's New York. Got to do something for Halloween,
It
right?
is. We have
It's
a
a
bunch
big
of
deal here.
parties, and I got our costumes this year. I always usually pick the costumes.
What's the costume?
So the costume this year is I'm going as the Pharaoh and Jess as Moses.
Nice. I like that. I did that.
It's good.
Yeah,
right?
I dig
I
that.
mean, we've had a few successful couples costumes: Roger Rabbit and Jessica Rabbit.
Oh my God, that was the one time I had a like sexy costume, and it was the most unattractive thing I have ever put on in my life.
No, you looked great.
That's not true. It's like it's a traumatic picture.
1 year I was Cher and she was a sailor.
Oh.
From her
Turn Back Time.
Turn Back Time.
I'm
Battleship,
familiar with the works of Cher.
yeah.
Thank you. Were you wearing, if I could turn back time, were you wearing that outfit?
Yeah.
Not exactly.
Not exactly, but I was
No.
wearing like really short shorts
Okay.
with the
with
high
fishnets and stuff, but
and
you
the-
weren't wearing like because wasn't it like it was sort of like a sheer
Yeah.
with just like a
I
V
wasn't.
right
No,
here?
no.
It was
Yeah,
like
the-
straps that went down,
That
I
was
think,
just
and then
a-
just like a real, like just a disappearing thong in the back. Like there was just nothing in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not that sexy.
No,
Unfortunately.
it was like
Leather jacket.
It was-
fishnets.
Yeah.
boots.
Yeah.
No, I mean it was a much more low key, but it was still high key for.
I think
Yeah.
that's pretty inspired. I like
Yeah.
that. That's good. All right. I would like to say that Moses and the Pharaoh is top notch. I applaud
Thank
you for that.
Well, I want Jess to try on her Moses as I already tried on the Pharaoh
It's
and she
very good.
approved. So
Yeah,
it's
very fun.
Jess, you got to try. I got her a beard, wig, the whole thing.
Nice. Well, I look forward to. Please put many pictures online so I can see that. I would love.
Will do.
So I guess finally, what is next for you? There's couples therapy, separate vacations, a season 3 of
No, I
Comedians
wouldn't
versus the
let-
News.
And a hot bikini body. I have to get fit
Getting
again.
fit.
It's driving me nuts. Yeah.
All right. That's good.
Yeah, I think the general comedy goals that are always there: building more material, pitching a show, a lot of stuff that the goals that we've had for a long time that haven't really changed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's hard for anything to move forward with a pandemic, but yeah, I think 2022 hopefully will be the year that we get
Famous.
discovered and famous and fit
And
and acting classes.
All of your passwords: rich and famous, skinny and tan.
That's it. Those are my passwords.
Don't tell your passwords on the podcast. We don't have a huge audience, but I wouldn't risk it.
Those were the passwords before they started requiring like numbers and
Oh, okay.
signs and yeah.
So now it's skinny with a 1 instead of an I.
Yeah. Dollar sign,
Oh yeah, very good. So yeah, if you want to steal Iman's identity,
Nobody wants to steal Eman El-Husseini's identity. That's
you're like, that thing never worked anyways. Keep it. So yeah, and then Comedians versus the News will be back in February
hopefully in February.
Hopefully,
on
yeah.
the BBC World Service or wherever you get podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exciting. Hopefully live shows with that.
Yeah.
All right. And well, guys, thanks again for your time. It's been a delightfully stressful conversation. Again, no, I
That's what we hope for.
I love talking to you guys. You're delightful. And when I check back with you in a year, I can't wait to see how your relationship has grown and strengthened.
I hope we're like, imagine a year where like, we just really need to spend some time apart. We're just hoping to get a few days on our own. And it's exactly
Just the same.
The same thing.
Like, no,
Iman's like, I need to lose weight. I need to work out.
That's what it's going to be.
you're like, 2023 is going to be my year.
That year.
We need to write a pilot. it.
You know what really sucks is that I thought 2020 and 2021 were going to be the greatest years because I'm like, I add up numbers and I'm a bit of a Rain Man when it comes to that. And I love the number 4 and the number 5. And I'm like, it's going to be the greatest. And they've been the worst years of my life.
No.
You're not alone.
If people want to find you online, if you want to be found, where can people find you? Is there anything you want to plug?
Everywhere. It's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Eman_El_Husseini. And we're also at the El-Salomons on Instagram together. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the El-Salomons. Then you have Jess Salomon.
So I'm Jess_Salomon, SALOMON. Fuck Facebook or the metaverse or whatever it is.
Metaverse.
Instagram or Twitter, Jess_.
Yeah, fuck Facebook. I can't believe I still get friend requests. You're right.
You'll never see what I post there, unless it's an announcement about our divorce or, I mean, we already got married, so that post already had, unless we're having a kid.
Or that you become a Trump supporter.
Yeah,
then they'll put it up
if
there.
I start posting about QAnon, you'll get those notifications. But yes, so Twitter or Instagram, Jess_Salomon,
sure.
And together at the El-Salomons, TheEL-Salomons.
I'll just put some links into the notes. And then that way.
Yeah.
Or go find the links in bio.
We just sang a song for you. Why don't you want to marry us and let us sing for you?
I'm very flattered. Thank you very much. But I have a wife and a baby now, so sorry, you missed your window.
We did.
But that's fine. Well, Jess and Eman, it's been such a pleasure talking to you.
Always.
Thanks so much.
You too, Matt.
And
take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Your house looks very empty.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the floor. We have no furniture left. We've got an airbed to sleep on tonight, which is basically going down in the night. So we wake up on the floor, which is very interesting. And then tomorrow night we're staying in the hotel at Heathrow. And then we fly on Saturday morning, provided we get a negative PCR tomorrow. We had a negative one yesterday morning. We have to take 2. We had to drive to Heathrow, take a PCR test yesterday, then come home, and then we have to drive again tomorrow to Heathrow to take a PCR test, and then we fly on the 30th, which is why we decided to get the hotel, because it's like, well, we're not gonna drive back again and then back again. It's just ridiculous.
Exactly, yeah. That sounds awful. I'm sorry. It sounds stressful, but you're almost done,
Yeah, man, we're on the home straight. Although I'm still stressed about this PCR thing, just because COVID seems to be everywhere at the moment. They said there are 1 million cases in the United Kingdom. They suspect at the moment.
Really?
The guy upstairs from us had it the other day. It's just around in this way where I'm trying to be really careful. We're gelling our hands so much that I've got hardly any skin left on my bones. But then what can you do? Yesterday, Sammy decided to lick the handrail, as in just put his mouth on the handrail. And we were like, Sam, don't lick the handrail. But he's 2, I mean, what am I meant to do if he's licked someone's COVID off a handrail?
You're like, I will leave you in this country. Mommy has a plan, and it doesn't involve staying here if some idiot gets COVID.
You can stay with your grandma for the winter and then come join us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the thing you want to do, is you want to give a child with COVID to an elderly woman.
We are exhausted. I feel like my relationships with my husband and children are hanging by a thread at this point. Because we did the shipping, we had to get everything shipped yesterday. It's just so full on, trying to, and then also we've been isolating for 2 weeks, and we've got to get there and quarantine for 2 weeks, and it just, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like the sort of the king of all ball aches. Do you know what I mean? As in there's so much about this, already just flying to Australia with 2 small children, an 18-hour flight or whatever it's going to be. That's already hard. All this other stuff is just too much. It's ridiculous now. What do they want from me?
What I'm hearing here is that you are not moving back because you're just I cannot be bothered to do this ever again. So you're going to be in Australia, and that is it. That was a one and done move.
Yeah, I mean, I love the UK, and I definitely want to come back
to visit
at some point. But my goodness, this has been a lot. It's been anyway. How are you?
I'm all right. I do the same things every day. Hang out with Tavish.
Wait, how's it been going? Because obviously you've been a full-time dad for how long now?
Since the beginning of the month. Yeah, it's been tiring. It's been really tiring. Actually, I had this realization the other day. I was like, around the 4th Star Trek Voyager episode I watched that day, I was like, oh, I'm depressed. I've got some problems with depression right now.
No, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
It's all right. It's just it's been a lot of things. It's just like it's tiring to hang out with him, and it's been me and him a lot. The weather's not great. It's a confluence of a number of things, and it ended up being with me like just self-medicating with Star Trek episodes, and I realized that was a bad thing. So trying to be more.
I love that other people like really hit a rock bottom, and then they're like, I've got to get some help, and with you it's like I've just got to get off this Star Trek, man. Like it's
like you're watching season 2 of Voyager? That season sucks. Why would you even watch those seasons? That's a terrible season. 7 of 9 is not there. They hadn't really figured out the show yet. I don't know.
I'm sorry to hear that. Look, I mean, I know you already know this, but it's really tough. Like parenting can be so hard, and I don't think people realize. I just don't think it's possible to realize how hard it is until you have kids.
It's fine. It was just kind of like a wake up call. It was just like I need to get out more. I need to interact with people more. I think that's going to be a positive thing. So that's going to be important. But anyways, so when you get to Australia, do they have IKEA in Australia? And if so, will you be taking the boys to IKEA again?
I probably will take the boys to IKEA, but my God, that was like such a reminder listening back to that intro where I was like, why did I do that to myself? That was crazy. I can't even believe that was 6 months ago. It feels like years ago. I feel like so much has happened since then.
Yeah.
I love IKEA by myself, right. I feel like it's so fun like looking at stuff in IKEA, but when you have 2 small children with you, it's just super stressful.
You're in IKEA and you're like, I could organize everything. They've got something to organize all my things. My life is going to change today.
That's me every day. It's like anything I'm doing. Like, this is the thing.
This is going to change it all. Yeah.
You'd been on a trip to, was it Horley?
Yeah. Well, we picked up a bike trailer, which we still haven't used. Because after we assembled it and we were like, oh, we can put a little baby in this, I was like, we're missing some parts here because this does not seem safe for a baby. So we are not putting our baby in this. So now that he's older and he can like hold his neck up, we could do that. So actually, that's probably one of the things I should do to help fight my depression is like take him for little bike rides and stuff.
Getting outdoors is so good, right? Like for your mental health, I think that's a great idea.
Probably, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to take him on walks and stuff, but like yesterday it was kind of miserable, and I don't know, I've been fighting a cold for a little while, and so we haven't been out as much as we usually are.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking about like all the costume thoughts I had are things that no one will remember now. No one remembers that ship stuck in the canal. Nobody remembers the European Super League debacle. Nobody even remembers Prince Philip. Like. It's just erased from history. It's like, man, I think now I think it's all going to be Squid Game costumes. That's going to be the thing.
Oh yeah, the Squid Game thing. Oh my gosh, have you watched it?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Oh wow, it was full on, man. Like I think it's such a, I mean, I'm going to sound so like just everyone that's watched it, but like being like, it's so compelling. Like it really is. Like it just, it sucks you in. Like you just feel like you have to keep watching it. I mean, I guess that's just any series, isn't it? But
well, good series anyways.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. It was definitely quite a unique sort of concept and everything. I really recommend it. Obviously, very, very violent. So do not watch it unless you're like very happy to watch violence, because the violence was a bit shocking at times. But I don't know, the actual concept of it was like, oh wow, you have not watched it, you're gonna watch it
eventually. Well, like the other day I suggested it and Alice was like, that sounds too intense for my brain space right now. So I was like, well, I have this thing that I got. I didn't want her to know, but I bought another Criterion movie. Anyways, but I had bought a copy of Have you ever seen Defending Your Life by Albert Brooke?
No.
So good. Such a good movie. I really enjoyed it. It's one of my absolute favorites. And it came out on the Criterion recently. And it's got, you know who it's got? It's got your favorite, Meryl Streep.
Oh, really? Oh, I love Meryl.
Oh, she's so delightful in this movie. I watched it. You watch it, you're like, Meryl Streep is such a ball of light in this movie. It's so amazing. It's so good. It's just a really beautiful little comedy that Albert Brooks made in the 90s.
Called? Let me find it.
It's called Defending Your Life. Did you watch The Good Place?
The Good Place.
The
No.
TV show The Good Place?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you should watch that too. But it's kind of in that same vein. It's kind of like, he dies. That's the beginning. And then they go to the afterlife, and it's this afterlife where he has to defend his life. And that's the whole thing, and then decide whether he'll be moved on in the universe or whether he'll be sent back to Earth to live another life. So
Wow.
it's really good. It's really fun. It's such a fun little movie, and there's great little bits to it. I highly recommend it.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, so we watched that instead of Squid Game because that was too intense. But
Yeah.
get on Squid Game one of these days.
Mhm.
Boris Johnson has not resigned,
No.
despite the fact that aren't all the waterways filled with feces now?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what he's up to at the moment. I've not paid much attention to Boris Johnson. Yeah. What has he done anything really crazy recently? I feel like he's just generally being Boris, and that's kind of enough in itself. But
You would think, yeah.
but no, people. I don't know. To be honest, I think people seem to quite like him. So I definitely don't think he will be resigning anytime soon. I don't know what would make him resign because he's got plenty of illegitimate children around the place, doesn't he?
So he's got lots of votes there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nothing
I mean,
happening with him so far. Sorry, bad prediction. I'm very disappointed in myself.
nah, whatever. I don't know. Well, yeah, who knows? It'll keep going or it'll stop. I don't know. There's horribleness. We'll see.
Well, that's a beautiful thought.
Anyways, I think it was a good prediction. I think it was it was a pretty solid prediction that it was going to be a scandal. So, not that he was, I don't know if he'll ever resign. You have to have shame before you resign, right?
That's true. And even with all the stuff that horrendous person, what's his name? Dominic Cummings said, Boris was never going to resign even after all that stuff. I guess that was kind of scandalous. That's happened since then. And if anything, that was an opportunity for Boris Johnson to resign after some of the stuff he said, but he certainly didn't seem interested in resigning. He didn't seem to care about what Dominic Cummings said, which I also found really funny because it was Dominic Cummings being like, well, we did all this evil stuff and it was really bad and I'm really sorry about it. And it's like, yeah, you were doing all the stuff. Why are you saying it now? Where I don't know, he was saying it in this way where it's I just, want to tell everyone all the bad stuff that we did. And it's okay, well, why did you just do all the stuff?
I hate that when shitty people make a career of doing shitty things and then they make a second career out of apologizing for doing shitty things, and it's I wrote this book that outlines all the shitty things I did, please buy it. It's
yeah.
And I just, and it's going around doing interviews and shit, just talking about how much horrible crap they did, which nobody ever paid any price for, was never fixed, And then the world is horrible every day, but Australia is gonna be nice. Everything's great in Australia.
The next time I speak to you, hopefully, obviously, provided we get on the plane and everything, will be from Darwin quarantine facility, which I don't know what's going to happen with that actually, because they've only got rural regional Wi-Fi, they said, which I don't know what that means, but it kind of makes me think it's going to be remember the dial-up when you have to dial up. Anyway, we'll see.
They have to have good Wi-Fi in quarantine, otherwise people would kill each other.
Apparently they have verandas that we're allowed to sit on. You can't go beyond the veranda, but that would be really nice. Sitting on a veranda. And
we'll all be out on the veranda.
I will take my tea now. Anyway, yeah, we'll see. So next time I speak to you, I'll be from quarantine.
Live from quarantine.
Coming live. We are surviving. Yeah. But anyway, we don't do predictions now because we're at the end of the end. So nice to see you. Thanks for listening, everyone. Are you happy to end this?
Yeah, I mean, we got other stuff to do, so we should probably end it. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We really appreciate it. If you can take the time to rate, review, subscribe, wherever you get your podcasts, that would be amazing. We'd really like it. And tell a friend. Here is something I've learned from looking at the analytics of the downloads, is that in the United States, this podcast has been downloaded in every state in the union except Wyoming and Missouri. And here's the thing. Wyoming, I'm ready to write off. Don't care. Lost cause as far as I'm concerned. But if you know somebody in Missouri, reach out and tell them about the great podcast you discovered and how much you enjoy it. So if you could just go, somebody in the greater St. Louis area, somebody in the Kansas City area, anywhere, Springfield, Missouri, Independence, Missouri, wherever they are, reach out and tell them about our podcast, and we'd really appreciate it. And and thanks again so much for listening. And if you want to reach out to us, we're 6 months later pod on all the things, and we're 6 months later pod at Gmail if you want to send us a message. And Tara, where can people find you?
I'm Tara the Ham. I can't remember. I think it's Tara.the.ham.
It is Tara.the.ham.
Thanks for knowing my handle.
I got a handle on that handle.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so it's Tara.the.ham as in like the meat. So Matthew's a vegetarian. But anyway, that's me. And I'm on Instagram, and I'm on, I don't know, probably TikTok and some other stuff. So feel free to check to find me there. Thank you. Goodbye. Love you. And also, Matt, where can people find you?
I'm M. Shadorn on Instagram. Pretty much that's the only place. You can friend me on Facebook if you want. That's fine. And you can find out what I'm doing at Q.E.D Comedy, QEDComedyLab.com. But yeah, and that's what I'm about. But thanks again, everybody. We really appreciate you. And thanks for, wasting your time with us. And we'll see you again next week.
In 6 months. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Happy New Year!
We did it, everybody!
2022, this is our year.
Oh, yeah. I feel like, 21, this is already a wash.